Nigga wanna say something about my mama? Your mama dead as fuck, nigga. Your mama dead as fuck. Go dig her.
This camp might have won the battle, but they ain't win the war.
Would like to discuss my mother. Go dig her up. Your mother is dead as. Although this camp may have prevailed in the combat, the war has not been won. Ty and his camp remained composed during the height of the conflict. Almost too serene. They had won the rap fight by most accounts, and it didn't really seem close. Then, when 50 Cent released something that no one anticipated, everything abruptly changed. The first episode of a documentary centered on almost 20 charges of sexual assault against T and his spouse. The story abruptly altered, and the energy quickly switched. This was hardly an unexpected development. There were warning indicators. 50 Cent posted something on Instagram in early March 2026. But he swiftly removed it. No, I stated that I desired 50. I said that. But he doesn't want any smoke. Yes. I did call my man out. He is not interested in smoke. He dodged the smoke, teasing the surviving T and Tiny project. About 20 incidences of sexual assault linked to the pair were specifically mentioned in the caption. It didn't matter that he erased it. It had already been seized, disseminated, and sealed in by the internet. Everyone who saw that post knew exactly what it meant. 50 Cent has a track record of making these kinds of threats into comprehensive documentaries. And when he does, it usually doesn't work out well for the target. A portion of the program was leaked. It was not the same thing. A preview, a signal, a deliberate action, and everything that preceded it is the reason it struck so forcefully. 50 Cent and T have been at odds for almost 20 years. It began as a regional rivalry between New York and Atlanta. But in 2008, after 50 accused Ty of being Tiana, he responded and played into it, saying, "I'm going to use it to promote my music." At 56, he stated, "I don't fear my past. I'm too focused on the future. Top 20 in 2 weeks and climbing now." Inform him, King. I don't play like Maillard. I'm in love. Following Ty's 2007 arrest for trying to buy machine weapons and silencers, a case that carried significant time, that charge was made. That did not go unnoticed by 50 either, saying he served one in the G Unit. He put it into song. Record too soon on site when 50 rapists are hit by 10 machine guns. They only receive a 12-month sentence or we don't communicate with them. For years, people's perceptions of T.I. were shaped by that statement. For a while, the conflict subsided, but it never completely vanished. Then, in 2020 and 2021, T.I. began advocating for a versus battle, a stage where musicians compete by performing their greatest hits. 50 continued to dismiss it, showing no interest at all. Until things heated up once more in February 2026, there was a period of stillness. On the Nightcap podcast during Super Bowl weekend, T.I. asserted that 50 had consented to a verse before pulling out. The match was ignited when he said, 50 ducked the smoke. 50 didn't write a song in response. He immediately turned to social media, where he is most popular. He shared an old Crime Stoppers PSA with T.I., using it to reinforce the same story about the snitch. Then, he escalated even further. On February 22, 2026, 50 shared a photo of Ty's wife, Tama Tiny Harris, that had been altered or selected to make her look awful, along with a message that made fun of her appearance. How are you doing? I just wanted to let you know that July 6th has arrived, and I offered you a grace period of 2 days since I needed to get my resize. Hours together, I was enjoying myself. However, 5 microphones may mean either a paycheck for me or an app check for you. Things were elevated to a new level at that point. King Harris, Ty's son, went live on Instagram practically right away. His remarks did more than just escalate the conflict. It went much beyond typical rap drama. At the age of 8, 50's mother, Sabrina Jackson, was killed in 1984. King was aware of this terrible and intensely personal aspect of his story. King did not hesitate to address that head-on. He justified his conduct by claiming that 50 had first insulted his living mother. This was retaliation in his opinion. However, the tone was more than merely sentimental. People were watching it all the time, and it came across as hostile and even menacing. T.I. shared a video of himself dancing with his mother the very next day, February 24th, with the message, "Happy birthday, Mama," with one of his disses songs playing in the background. Make the decision to wake up on the dark side of the bed once more on Saturday, February 7th. And if you follow, You're aware that I recently discussed how I feel about that. 50 Cent never gets out of bed in the morning. On the evil side, he awakens. And I predict that he will get it to the capital C's and go to someone within at least half of the month, possibly 15 days. The message seemed deliberate. It was perceived by fans as a stark contrast. While 50 was unable to celebrate his living mother, Ty did. Even though it was subtle, it was powerful. On February 27, 2026, Deontay Harris, Ty's other kid, released a diss tune called Miss Jackson that same week. King then went across another boundary. During a disc video, he wore a t-shirt that made fun of Sabrina Jackson's appearance and demise. Even some of T.I.'s fans thought that was excessive. Hip-hop media began to interpret 50's silence in a different way at that point. It didn't appear to be a refuge. It appeared calculated, and it proved to be precisely the case, as his next action had nothing to do with music. It was considerably more than that. I'm attempting to obtain an updated tip from the gentleman who is an ambassador from the South. You mentioned that you wanted to make the first. Let me tell you something, gentlemen, and you called out 50 Cent. Hey, pay attention. Let's get started. Look, hey, guys, let me tell you something. I am aware of what would be the most amusing and likely the most pertinent comical topic for us to discuss. And I deliver the little ball to us. At that point, 50 uploaded and removed the teaser for Ty and Tiny's survival. It was no longer trolling. He was making a clear reference to a series of accusations that had existed since 2021 and hinting that he would base an entire documentary on them. It became serious because of that. This wasn't your average disc. The battleground had changed. Rap feuds can be noisy and ugly, but a documentary based on grave accusations is something different. And because they had previously witnessed 50 utilize this strategy, folks instantly grasped that. The threat's significance stems from its backstory. Allegations against Ty and Tiny initially surfaced in January 2021, public in a significant manner. The story started in 2009 when Sabrina Peterson, an entrepreneur and former acquaintance of the couple, accused T.I. of threatening her with a gun. The door was opened by that assertion. In a few days, Peterson claimed to have received similar stories about the couple from over 30 others. These included allegations of violence, coercion, and drug use between 2005 and 2018. Some people refer to me as Tip. This relates to another type of tip that can assist our fathers, mothers, sisters, and brothers in getting the criminals who harm them off the streets. You just need to give a call. Atlanta Crime Stoppers. There is also a prize for anonymous tips. Crime Stoppers Atlanta can be reached at 404-5778. 477-404-577 is that number. Attorney Tyrone A. Blackburn was defending 11 accusers by March 2021. 3 additional women have related accusations, and 8 women have accused T.I., Tiny, or their associates of direct sexual assault. There was a trend to the claims: drinks purportedly laced with drugs like MDMA, invitations to parties or hotels, and then interactions without consent. According to one lady, she was coerced into taking drugs and having intercourse at a hotel in 2010 when she was unable to provide her consent. That same year, another claimed that T and an acquaintance had drugged and abused her. These assertions were repeated and described in length in several accounts. Later, lawyer Lisa Bloom came forward to defend 2 additional victims. 5 claimed victims were interviewed by the New York Times, and they described similar trends. In correspondence to authorities in Georgia and California, Blackburn described the situation as a pattern of deliberate sadistic assault. These weren't unspoken rumors. These were recorded assertions that had been in the public eye for years. And now, 50 Cent was hinting that he would use an organized graphic approach to bring everything back into the spotlight. Winning a rap battle and dealing with a documentary based on grave accusations are 2 very different things. The threat was very serious because of this distinction. Lyrics were no longer important. It has to do with narrative control. Following at least 2 women's complaints, the LAPD launched a formal investigation in May 2021. That's not how I was raised. I don't go by my mother's side. However, by September, the Los Angeles County District Attorney refused to press charges, citing statutes of limitations that had expired. Restrictions. T.I., Tiny Friends, and Family Hustle were canceled by VH1 at about the same time. There were no criminal charges brought. Then a fresh lawsuit surfaced in January 2024. Jane Doe, an Air Force veteran, filed under California's Sexual Abuse and Cover-Up Accountability Act, which permitted the reopening of some lapsed claims. She claimed that after meeting the pair at a nightclub in 2005, she was given what she thought was a tainted drink and, unable to provide consent, was attacked in a hotel. Ty and Tiny requested that the case be dismissed. A judge emerged from that dismissal in August 2024. Put it on me if we are in a case together and I pass away. Blessings from God. Bro, put it on me. Man, Nate, put the case on me if I'm dead and you can go home. Do you hear me? Yes. Yes. And if I were living, I wouldn't be involved unless it was some, do you understand what I mean? If you're like, man, it wasn't mine after I've left and you have some dope. So, why not, dude? Oh, I see. After I'm gone, you still have a life to live. Where is the logic in it, and why would I think you would appreciate it? What? Where's the reasoning in that? The lawsuit was closed with prejudice after the plaintiff failed to reply to filings. All accusations have been refuted by the couple, who claim they are untrue and motivated by money. We are innocent of these fake claims, they declared in a statement released in January 2024. As of right now, no criminal charges have ever been brought against Sabrina Peterson. In the meantime, a defamation lawsuit that T.I. filed against her in September 2024 is still pending, with a trial set for June 2026. We will not be shook down, and we look forward to our day in court. In many respects, the matter is still unresolved legally. Here's the main distinction, though. Documentaries and courtrooms do not function in the same manner. Public opinion is shaped by films, but legal outcomes are dependent on evidence and procedure. And that's precisely why this threat struck with such intensity. Making a case is not the goal. It involves telling a tale, and once that story is published, its impact may be uncontrollable. Back in 2021, T.I. and Tiny received some protection from the judicial system, without a question. However, this is the truth. Legal decisions cannot prevent the use of cameras, interviews, or narratives. A courtroom can end a case, but it doesn't stop a production crew from asking questions and knocking on doors. And that distinction is quite important, because in this case, 50 Cent isn't behaving like a prosecutor. He is acting like a producer, and his work doesn't require conviction to be powerful. History has already demonstrated that his strength stems from the narratives he crafts rather than the arguments he makes. You have to look into his playbook to truly see why this threat seems so serious. 50 is more than just an artist. With Goonit Cinema and television, he manages an entire media enterprise. Additionally, his step-by-step movements follow a pattern. No mishaps. Social media photos, posts, videos, and jokes that appear random but aren't are the first. The public framing that follows shapes people's perceptions of the incident. Production then starts. The audience is already seated and waiting when the cameras start rolling. The story is not introduced in the documentary, it completes it. And that's where the actual harm occurs. He doesn't make up accusations. He gathers what is already available, arranges it, and gives it a beginning, middle, and end. After that, he posts it on a site where millions of people can view it. The actual move is that. And he is lining up against TELA just for that reason. 50 took things a step further on March 5th, 2026. He promoted Crime Stopper-style content and uploaded old footage of T.I. in court with the obvious intention of maintaining the snitch narrative and the accusations in people's minds. No, I don't like it, was the caption. Post a photo of your mother, mama. Let's perform the stay away challenge and keep away from me. No verses. She's dead. Be respectful. It seemed like a sneak peek, yet it appeared to be trolling. On February 28, 2026, blogger Tasha K intervened, stating on X that sources near 50 verified he was working on a project centered around the alleged assault and drugging allegations. She made it clear that 50 did not play fairly and advised the Harris family to apologize and back off. That increased the pressure even further. Simultaneously, 50 released songs related to his power universe, such as No One Told Us What We're Here For, which subtly criticized family dynamics without specifically mentioning Ty. Then on March 7th, 2026, he published No More Tricks, No More Lies with Max B. The song's meaning was evident in the setting. No more deceit, no more attempts, and no more falling for falsehoods. I am the algorithm was the caption, and it was more than just a flex. That was a tactic. Everything is explained in that one sentence. 50 is more than just reacting. He is attempting to dominate the whole story. He wants to control the narrative before I has a chance to react appropriately, and others who were closely observing quickly noticed that. The videos, the tunes, and the posts. The main event isn't any of that. That's merely the build-up. The actual shift is always more significant. This goes beyond pride and toughness. It involves leveraging conflict as leverage and transforming it into content. Surviving R is the template that everyone is referring to. Kelly, which debuted in 2019 and attracted about 26 million views. Tie your mother's shoes, please. You simply have no idea who the guy is with. The R. The documentary itself influenced public opinion before Kelly's conviction in 2021. Therefore, it is not at all subtle when 50 alludes to a title like Surviving Ty and Tiny. He's putting them in a very certain category and challenging them to react. For his part, Ty hasn't given up. We can go bar for bar, hit for hit, or doc for doc. Either way, all you're going to do is show how much of a you it is. Let's play. Nobody fears you over here, boo-boo, he said in a post from a music video shoot on March 5th, 2026. His tone was straightforward and uncompromising. Following that, he released a diss track titled Trauma Bond, indicating that he is still prepared to fight. In another caption, he pushed back once more, essentially telling 50 to drop whatever he wants. However, one detail caught people's attention. My song in the Country Man, Let Them Know Man. T.I. said doc for doc, implying that he might have his own documentary ready. The question is whether he can match what 50 already has in place, which includes a full production system, significant distribution connections, and an audience that is already paying attention. Now, this was more than just a dispute between two artists. It involved the entire Harris family, and every response added layers to the conflict. King Harris was the turning point, as his Instagram Live that targeted his late 50s mother sparked immediate backlash. Some defended him, calling it loyalty, while others said it went too far. Even Boozy spoke out, stating that making fun of someone's deceased parent is unacceptable regardless of what started the situation. Audience right away. T.I.'s other son, Damani Harris, took a different approach. His song, M. Jackson, which was released on February 27, 2026, stayed focused on music rather than personal attacks. However, the situation still attracted the attention of the entire family, even their 9-year-old daughter, who posted a video expressing support for her mother, framing it as a response to the disrespect. And Tiny eventually spoke out as well, supporting her sons and calling them her biggest flex for defending her. In an interview with TMZ, Ty clarified that he was not entirely comfortable with how far things had gone, saying that he had been trying to steer King away from that kind of behavior for years, and that this situation gave him a reason to fall back into it. He also said that he told King to stop after the t-shirt incident. She saw their actions as protection, not going too far, which added another layer to how the public saw everything. I could almost guarantee you that 50 Cent's attorneys are looking at T.I. and his family extremely closely. One commentator said, it was about showing the women in his family that they would be defended. This idea, defense over dominance, helps explain his approach, but it also shows where things got complicated because once the response crosses certain lines, it creates new problems. In trying to defend family, they gave the other side new material, and that is exactly the kind of opening 50 knows how to use. Everything that is going on is further complicated by that kind of strain. My mom died when I was little, 50 said in response to the remarks made about his mother. Even Uncle Murda, when questioned about the situation, initially treated it as entertainment, but quickly corrected himself, saying it was not funny. That shift sums up how people are reacting. At first, it looked like typical rap drama, but now it feels like something much more serious. You said that to me. That shifted sympathy in his direction. In public opinion, that moment gave him ground to stand on. As of March 8, 2026, no documentary has been officially released, no network has confirmed anything, and no complete project has been released. However, this does not mean that nothing is happening. Rather, there is currently a threat, a track record of success, and a very calculated silence from 50 Cent, which is doing exactly what it is supposed to do, building tension, holding attention, and keeping everyone watching closely for the next move. Surviving R. Kelly debuted in 2019 and attracted about 26 million viewers. 2 years later, R. Kelly was found guilty and given a 30-year sentence. Although the documentary did not produce the evidence, it arranged everything in a way that made the outcome seem almost inevitable to the public. That's the blueprint, and 50 Cent is fully aware of it. He has studied it, and more importantly, he knows how to carry it out. However, T.E.'s legal situation is different, with the majority of the claims being outside the statute of limitations. The 2024 civil case was dismissed with prejudice, and no criminal charges have been filed. However, this is crucial because legal outcomes and public opinion are two entirely different battles, and 50 has never needed a courtroom victory to shake someone's career. If this documentary actually drops and lands on a major platform, there could be serious repercussions. T.I.'s touring run for Kill the King could face backlash, cancellations, or protests. His business endeavors, such as the Trap Music Museum, could be heavily scrutinized. That kind of pressure spreads quickly, and Tiny would not be exempt either. Escape reunion plans could be overshadowed, and everything the couple has built, from media endeavors to real estate, could carry a different kind of attention. Not all attention is good, and this kind sticks, but it is not guaranteed to go that way. If the documentary comes out weak, with no new voices, details, or solidity, it could flip back on 50. T.I. still has a devoted fan base that has supported him through years of controversy, jail time, and legal troubles. That kind of support does not go away easily. Some people are already framing 50's moves as personal, even calling it jealousy. And to be fair, his online style occasionally feeds that narrative. If the project feels more like a grudge than genuine accountability, it could actually strengthen T.I.'s position rather than undermine it. Then there is the countermove. T.I. said doc for doc, which was not random. He hinted at having his own documentary, possibly focused on 50's past. Family issues, business fallouts, things that have never been thoroughly examined in a structured manner. Whether that project is real or just pressure is unclear, but even the idea of it creates tension. Right now, it almost looks like a standoff. However, appearances matter, and controlling appearances is exactly what 50 does best. While some people think T and his family won the rap side of this, that part may be true and still not matter in the bigger picture. The diss tracks, the energy, and the family unity all hit strong. However, his side showed up with intensity and presence. The difference that people are pointing out is that rap battles are one arena, documentaries are another, and 50 has already demonstrated that he can dominate in that second space on a level that music alone cannot touch. King Harris displayed confidence during the most intense moments of this situation, particularly during that Instagram Live. The energy was loud, direct, and fearless. However, confidence alone does not always win every type of battle, and this next phase is a completely different kind of fight. Every move made thus far, the live, the t-shirt, and the posts, has been viewed not only by fans. At this point, the music side is essentially finished. The real question, the one that everything has been building toward, is straightforward. 50 Cent is not new to pressure. He has survived extreme situations, career ups and downs, and years of people doubting him. He does not move randomly. There is always a plan behind it, even though it looks chaotic on the surface. If you've made it this far, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and forward this video to anyone who needs to see this breakdown. If the documentary does come, the impact will be much greater than words, bars, or Instagram moments.